welcome Abijoma Onyaso tonight. Senate President Bukola Saraki breaks the silence on his trial by the Code of Conduct Tribunal, agrees to appear before it tomorrow. Court of Appeals strikes out application for stay of arrest on the Senate President, says parties be served notice of application. The former presidential candidate, Chief Olufalaye, has been kidnapped. His abductors are demanding 100 million naira ransom. And Hungary's Prime Minister raises alarm, says Europe's border threatened by migrants.
On business news tonight, Central Bank of Nigeria begins its two-day monetary policy committee meeting.
And on sports news tonight, Chelsea striker Diego Costa faces a 3-match suspension after being charged with violent conduct by the English FA.
The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, has agreed to appear before the Code of Conduct Tribunal tomorrow, Tuesday, September the 22nd. Senator Saraki says he's ready to submit himself to due process on any issue concerning him, while the Senate President affirmed his claim to what he describes as his right to resort to the same judiciary for protection when he feels his fundamental rights are about to be infringed upon. He explained that his absence from the tribunal was based on legal advice from his counsel, that appearing before the tribunal at this stage was not necessary since its jurisdiction has been challenged before the Federal High Court in Abuja.
Being a law-abiding citizen by the director of the CCT saying that one should be there tomorrow, I will be there. I have nothing to hide. One was exercising his own rights, both at the Federal High Court and at the Court of Appeal. And so we'll be there before the tribunal. The most important thing is that I believe in the process and I'm ensure that we'll be there in the morning.
Meanwhile, the Court of Appeals sitting in Abuja has struck out the application filed by the Senate President Bukola Saraki seeking to set aside the order for his arrest issued by the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Delivering a ruling after hearing the arguments by Senator Saraki's counsel, Mr. Adebayo Adelodun, Justice Mori Adume said that it's not in the habit of the court to interfere in the proceedings of a lower court when the other parties have not been heard. Justice Adume then rejected the application, saying that it will be better to serve the interests of justice by putting the respondents on notice. The matter has been adjourned to Tuesday, September the 29th, for report of proof of service and hearing.
Is there a motion for stay of execution and motion of stay of proceeding? All parties have been duly served. So we don't know yet. We don't know the mind of the court. So we just made the application and it has been duly served. Ordinarily, when you are served with process of a superior court, you are supposed to hands off by the authority of Achebe versus Mbanifo.
In the meantime, the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Justice Danladi Umar, today issued a fresh arrest warrant on the Senate President. The order came despite arguments by counsel to the Senate President, Joseph Daudu, that the tribunal lacked competency to hear the case, and that's the argument that the prosecuting counsel opposes. At the resumed hearing after the short adjournment, Justice Umar reissued a warrant of arrest on the Senate President, Bukola Saraki. The Code of Conduct Tribunal is trying the Senate President for alleged false declaration of assets.
Appear with us.
The Code of Conduct Tribunal was filled to capacity as lawyers, friends and associates of Senator Bukola Saraki stormed the tribunal in solidarity. The anticipated appearance of Senator Saraki, however, generated a lot of argument as the prosecutor and the defense counsels exchanged legal fireworks.
My Lord, the rule of law will have to be maintained. He gave an undertaking that is going to produce him today. And that is why I urge my client not to arrest because of the undertaking by senior counsel.
On Friday, yes, I intervened at a point, yes, to say that I would produce the accused
on Monday.
On Monday, yes.
Yes, that's today.
I got a bit confused.
Okay.
You did not rule on it. You said it was noted.
Beyond challenging the jurisdiction of the tribunal to hear the suit, lawyer to the Senate President also challenged the composition of the tribunal.
More fundamental issues have come up. Now, indeed, when I came in on Friday, my first question was, why were you sitting as two members when paragraph 15.1 says 3 consists the tribunal?
This issue of the composition of the tribunal has been tested several times, to the effect that even though the Constitution stipulates the chairman and 2 other members, but under the Interpretation Act, it also states that the chairman and 1 other member can form a quorum to determine and consider matters before the Court of Conduct Tribunal.
Man, from day one, they have been holding on to one position of the law. Say, the tribunal cannot even sit because there is no Attorney General.
The chairman of the tribunal, however, disagrees with the submission of the defense counsel, just as the prosecutor prayed the tribunal not to be swayed by the submission of the defense team.
They came before your lordship this morning and said, no, the panel, we have filed an appeal. The panel is not properly constituted. My lord, how can they say, if the panel is not properly constituted, they have filed a motion before your lordship?
With the arguments for and against the jurisdiction of the tribunal and the composition of its members, the chairman gave his verdict.
The application to stay proceedings in this matter due mainly to the filing of an appeal at the registry of the Court of Appeal is hereby refused. Accordingly, the Inspector General of Police, as we said earlier, and other security agencies are still in order to arrest and produce the accused person tomorrow, the 22nd of September 2015, at 10 a.m. front to answer the charges against him. And that is the order of the tribunal.
It has been a back and forth filled session where apparently the Code of Conduct Tribunal have refused to stay proceeding on the matter. Now, when the courts resume on the 22nd of September, it might put to rest the issue of appearance or non-appearance of the Senate President. Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Well, staying with the Code of Conduct Tribunal, a former president of the Nigeria Bar Association, Mr. Olisa Agbakoba, has called on the Chief Justice of Nigeria to clarify the powers of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. According to him, the clarification has become necessary in light of the controversy the matter is generating. Mr. Agbakoba was a guest on our breakfast program, Sunrise Daily.
All this. Maybe it's too early, but this week I need to hear the NJC say something about this, because that's the final word. If the NJC were to say, look, the Federal High Court and the CCB is this, Federal High Court is this, it's clear to everybody. So we don't go round and round and round editorials. The social media is full of all kinds of stories, but the real authorities are sitting down there in Abuja. I challenge the CJN of Nigeria to make a restatement of the law, and that will end everything. The clarification from the CJN is important, so it will give direction to the legal community and the judiciary community. Third thing will not be what Saraki will make of his case in the Federal High Court. I'm happy to hear from your news that it's gone on appeal, because that will be an interesting new angle when the appeal court will then review, hopefully, the activities of both of the courts. But for me, and I'm not saying that I'm infallible. I'm entitled to one side. And we lawyers have different views. But my own view is, with the knowledge I've had as the president of the Bar Association and as a member of the NJC, where all the superior courts, the heads of superior courts, come there. Let's give you one thing. The NJC collects the budget of the superior courts. They don't collect the budget of the CCB. They don't collect the budget of the ICT. They don't collect the budget of the court-martial procedure. Please, CJ of Nigeria, clarify. It'll help all of us. Otherwise, we'll go into a clutter. There will be all sorts of interlocutory appeals, and the matter will not end. And the real issue, the Saraki declares assets, it'll be forgotten. There are key characters that can play key roles here. One is the president. He said he's not part of this. 2 is the CJN. 3 is, of course, Saraki himself, who has said he's done nothing wrong. The State High Court has unlimited jurisdiction, unlimited civil and criminal jurisdiction in respect of every matter, except that excluded and handed to the Federal High Court. So if you take away the jurisdiction of either of these 2 courts, you will be doing so under an act. And an act is inferior to the Constitution. Unless, of course, the president can quickly put together a constitutional amendment and transfer corruption cases into the amendment, which I doubt. So these are the 2 courts. People don't understand that these 2 courts have phenomenal unlimited powers over anything prescribed in the Constitution. Why can't I Google up and see what's happening? It's not transparent. So the CCB itself needs to be reviewed? Absolutely. Not even reviewed. It needs to be fundamentally and transformationally reformed.
Former President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olisa Agbakoba. In part 2, after the break, elder statesman Olufalaye is kidnapped from his farm in Ondo State. His abductors demand 100 million naira ransom. That's in a moment. Do join us again.